We are calling the meeting of the Cultural and Fine Arts Commission to order, and I would like to ask the clerk for the roll call, please.
Commissioner Small,
Present.
Commissioner Reiners,
Present.
Commissioner Momsen,
Here.
Commissioner Farrar,
Here.
Chair Schleilein.
Here.
Thank you, and let the record show that Commissioner Love, Commissioner Van Wagner, and Vice Chair Knudsen are absent.
Thank you. We are on to item 1.0, comments from the public. Public comment at this special meeting is limited to items appearing on the agenda. Members of the public will have an opportunity to address the commission on each agenda item when the chair opens public comment during consideration of that item. No other matters may be discussed at this special meeting. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes or less. When recognized by the chair, please step to the podium and speak into the microphone, beginning by stating and spelling your name. Do we have any comments from the public? With that, I think we'll move on to 2.0, which is our special calendar, our 2.1 2026 Student Creative Artist Award interviews, and I will turn it over to Dave Jans, the Parks and Rec Director.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Commissioners, for being here this afternoon, accommodating the special start time. So we have a very exciting evening in front of you tonight. I will turn it back over to you here shortly, but what I wanted to do was just quickly run through the format, the materials that you have in front of you, and a slight update to our process compared to what we've done in previous years. So as I mentioned, we have 19 artists that will be joining us this evening. Very excited to hear from all of them. You will have each have a packet in front of you, and this is similar information, or exactly the same information that was found in the agenda packet. So in that packet you have the schedule, so you'll see the artists that we have lined up. We've allotted 10 minutes for each student artist. They do not need to take up the whole time, but we try to keep each of the interviews within that 10-minute time frame so that we can stay on track. We do have a few breaks built in, and you'll note there is a little bit of schedule juggling that we may need to do, but Sarah Tracy's in contact with our artists, and so we'll keep you updated if we need to shift slightly up or down, but we should be able to keep everything within the allotted time that we have here. So within your packet, you have the schedule that I just mentioned, and then you'll see each of the applications. We put them in the order in which they'll be appearing, so hopefully you can flip through and don't have to go searching for each one. You also have the interview questions. Those were published as part of the packet and also provided to you as the commission as well as the student artists in advance so they can prepare. We do ask that you stick to those questions so that we keep it an even process across the board. And then what you'll have after the questions is a set of optional rubrics. And so these are rubrics which you can utilize to help in your note taking, in your scoring. These will not necessarily be collected. These are for you to make notes on. It's a guiding document. They're separated by the various disciplines. And so what you will do if you'd like to utilize them is based on the student that comes forward, whatever their discipline is, you can grab the accompanying rubric and utilize that. So we have one for creative writing, one for dance, one for music, one for theater, one for multimedia, and one for visual arts. Visual arts will be the thickest one. That has 12 different students on there. You'll notice there is a paper clip on each of them, even the single ones. That's to help you just find them quickly as we're moving through. The final thing I'd like to talk about is the overall process. So we'll be hearing from each of the students tonight. You will not be making your decisions, and we ask that you don't conduct your deliberations here this evening. We'll be making our decisions at our regular meeting 1 week from now on April 7th. And what that will allow you to do is see the interviews tonight. Hopefully you all have had a chance to read the applications, but you can revisit the application materials, the links that the students have provided. You can take that back and think about it. You're also welcome as individuals to reach out to any professionals in the field if you'd like between now and then. We just ask that you don't come together as a commission and deliberate between now and next Tuesday. It'll also allow you to, we are recording the session this evening, so you have the opportunity to go back and view those recordings. The last piece that I'd like to note is the 3 commissioners that are not present this evening, while they cannot participate remotely tonight, since they have been provided the applications and have the ability to review the recording, they will be able to take part in the deliberations next week, assuming they review those materials and the recorded options. So I think I've covered the overall process, but I'm looking to my colleagues if I missed anything.
I think you did pretty well. Not too many holes that I saw, or heard. Thank you.
Any questions from the commission before we get started?
So I think that what our next step would be is, well, we need to do public comment again. I see that on the, we don't? Okay, okay. So the next thing is how to break up the questions. And we have in the past just kind of gone down the line and then gone back because it's simpler to remember. If you are okay with that, I would like to suggest Emma starts, but you may not start the next one. We'll leave off and just go around unless somebody has their favorite question that they have to ask. Okay. Sounds like, Emma, you'd be starting us and we'll just continue on. That's right. And then we'll wrap around. So.
And Madam Chair, just one point I want to, so we do ask that you stick to the questions, but if you have brief follow-up questions, clarifying questions based on the answers, that is certainly welcome. We just want to stick to the overall format of those questions as well.
And I think a quick follow-up question would be in order, but the timeline's pretty tight. We've not had this many people apply or this tight a timeline before, so, which is a nice problem to have. So I believe that we have our first applicant, Riley. Riley, would you come up, please? And we are recording this, but it isn't to be to the public. It will go to our commissioners to decide.
Okay,
But just wanted to let you know.
perfect.
And it's kind of formal, I know, but,
It's
just
great.
relax. You're
Yeah.
a theater person, so
Yeah.
I think you have a little bit of an advantage here.
Yes, I've
So-
definitely been in front of people before.
Thank you. And Emma will start us.
When were you first aware that you were a creative?
I think I've been doing just performing in general since I was about 4 years old, and my mom put me in a dance class actually when I was, I think, 5 or 6, and I was in a theater production at the same time, and I just remember I was always a kid that really just loved to move, and I remember walking into the dance class and really feeling the energy and everyone there, and same with the theater production I was in, and I just felt like I found a community, and I was like, we're all the same, and it was really I remember feeling that even at such a young age, and I think ever since after that I just felt the need to be creative, and it just feels like something that I need to do, and it's not even an option for me. So yeah.
Thank you. How do you want your art to impact others?
I think that something I love as an audience member when I watch theater is feeling that I can connect to the story in some way, and I think when I can feel that from the audience, that there's an energy being passed between the performers and the audience members, that's always really special to me. So I think I want it to impact people in a way where they can connect to a character or the story in some way and really feel it.
Sorry. What would you say is your artistic strength and your weaknesses?
I'd say I feel that I'm a pretty directable person, so I can take critiques pretty well, and I really enjoy taking critiques as well. I really love getting notes on my work. I think it helps me grow. So I think I'm pretty directable. I also, from a young age, have always had a really great memory, so I love memorizing things. I think I can memorize monologues and songs and things pretty easily, but I think that I struggle, but I'm working on sometimes jumping between different kinds of characters quickly, and I played a wide range of different characters, but sometimes I struggle with jumping between all of them and finding a way to kind of balance all of them, but working on it. So yeah.
What would you say separates your art from other student artists' work?
Yeah. I would say I think the way that I really bring my whole self into all of the characters that I play, and how I don't just see it as a performance or something that I'm like an assignment. I really see it as like that character becomes a part of myself and I become a part of the character, and I study all of everything that they do, and I really like try to bring my whole self and really not just give, unless it's what the director wants, not just give the basic outlines of the character, but I really try to find my own kind of way to represent the character as well that not someone else wouldn't be able to replicate. So, yeah.
How do you hope your art transforms, and what steps will you take to get there?
Yeah, so I hope to do a BFA, major in musical theater, in college. So right now I'm really working on kind of taking the steps to get there. I'm taking voice lessons, as well as I'm a competitive dancer, so I'm doing that as well. And working a lot with my acting teacher and kind of trying to build different ways and having more of a wide range of different projects and things so that I can really become more versatile in the craft.
What are you? You did the fifth one. Okay. What are you currently working on?
Right now I'm not in a show. I was just in Mean Girls at my high school, but I'm a competitive dancer, like I said, so I just finished up my season. But right now I'm really working on prepping for summer programs that I'm gonna do, and working on adding more things to my portfolio, like monologues, and kind of trying to get like just a lot of different things in so that I'm ready. But yeah,
What was your role in Mean Girls?
I was Janice.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are you hungry to learn or explore further?
Yeah, I've always had a really soft spot for Shakespeare. I really love Shakespeare, so I'm not sure how much of that I'm going to get to do doing musical theater in college, so I'm really kind of wanting to get a lot of studying of that in before I leave, because I'm a junior. So my theater teacher loves Shakespeare, and we're doing 2 Shakespeare shows next year, so I'm really hoping to kind of get a lot of those monologues into my portfolio, and kind of, because it's just such a different language, so I've always loved it. I'm hoping to get a lot of that more in.
What does art mean to you in your life?
To me, art has never been something that I really choose. It's always been something that I feel like kind of just am naturally drawn to, and that I kind of need to do as a human, as a person. So I think, like, I've always sang my whole life, like even as a little kid, like it's always just been something that's a part of me, and I don't even see it as like an option. I really just feel like it's just a part of my being and myself, and it's what I need to do with my life. So I think that it's something that can really bring a lot of people together, and no matter what the story is, if it's hard or if it's sweet, or it's just something that everyone can kind of connect to in some way, and I find that that's a really beautiful part of it.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head, but
Thank you. You're welcome to stay if you want. It's not required at all, but it's been fun in the past to have people in cheering on others and seeing what other people want to do. So we appreciate you coming, and we will know at the end of next week.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Great job.
Thanks. I wish I could stay, but I have something I have to get
Sure.
to. So,
Of course.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Riley. And Madam Chair, if I may, just before our next one, I just wanted to clarify. So the recording will be available for the public to view. So in order for all commissioners to be able to view that, it has to be a public. So it's not being live streamed currently, but it will be, the link will be viewable for after the fact. So no problem. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Elizabeth, right?
Yes.
Yes. Welcome to the Cultural and Fine Arts Commission. This is pretty formal looking, but don't let it freak you out. We're all pretty much artists here, so we know what it's like on the other side too. And we're just going to ask you the same questions we asked the last candidate so we can keep it fair. And we've
Yeah.
all seen your work, so it's very helpful. And so we'll just get started with our youth commissioner, Emma.
When were you first aware that you were a creative?
I think the first time I was aware that I was a creative was probably when I was like 6 years old. I have a lot of older siblings, and all of them participated in some form of like art. So my older brother was really into music, he was in band, and my two older sisters were in art classes. So I was introduced to art at a very young age, and I've always loved it since I can remember. I've been painting or doodling, so yeah.
How do you want your art to impact others?
I want my art to impact others by I want people that see my work to feel a variety of emotions rather than just maybe looking at it and thinking, oh, this is really pretty, or oh, this makes me happy. I want people to maybe feel seen by my paintings, and I know there's a lot of people in Sonoma who can relate to my paintings, whether that be like mothers, fathers, or even their kids.
What do you say your strengths are and what are your weaknesses artistically?
I think my biggest strength actually is probably my creativity. I feel like I'm a pretty creative person, and that helps me in a lot of ways. And one of my weaknesses is I have a really hard time getting over roadblocks, but I know that they're just little bumps in the road and they never stop me from painting or creating.
Separates your work from other students' work that you've seen?
I'd say that something that separates my artwork from other students' artworks is probably that I paint experiences that I've experienced or my family members have experienced rather than painting things that I've only seen and not actually lived through. So I think that's something that separates me from a lot of artists.
How do you hope your art transforms, and what steps are you going to take to get there?
I hope that my art transforms by I really want to improve in a lot of things, and I want to create bigger paintings and reach a further audience. Yeah.
What are you currently working on?
I'm currently working on a watercolor painting. It's of migrant workers in a strawberry field. I chose to paint that because I drive by a strawberry field in Watma a lot, and I always see people picking strawberries, and it reminds me of my dad. So,
What are you hungry to learn or explore further?
something I'm hungry to learn or explore further is painting different cultures. I normally only paint, well, like Hispanic culture, but I think it'd be interesting to paint things that have to do with other cultures.
Do you want to travel in order to do that?
Yeah, so one of my goals is to actually study abroad, and I hope that I can study abroad and that while I'm doing that, I can paint what I see.
What does art mean to you?
Art means to me like expression and freedom. I feel like a lot of times I struggle with saying how I feel, and art is a way that I can express how I feel without actually saying it. So I think art to me is like freedom because I feel free.
All right. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the crew up here?
I don't think so. Any-
Can you tell us some of the materials that you used for your work and like how the size of your pieces you submitted?
Yeah. So almost all of my works are in oil paint, which I actually only started using this year, but it's been my favorite medium. And the sizes of the canvases vary. One of them is 3 by 4 feet, and that's the biggest painting that I've done so far. And the rest vary from sizes, I think 2 by 2.5 feet, and then some smaller ones that are like a foot and a foot and a half. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we will have another meeting next week, and we'll be deciding who gets the award at that time. So we really appreciate you doing this, and you're welcome to stay if you want to listen and hear other people.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And Madam Chair, I just want to point out, I know we've got a few moments here, but you're welcome, even if we are right on time, if any of the commissioners need a moment to get your materials situated, you're certainly welcome to do that.
Hi, are you Alexandra?
Yes, I am.
Yes, wonderful. Welcome. This is a little formal. Don't be
Okay.
intimidated. We're all artists here, and this is a little bit more formal than most artists are used to. But we're going to ask questions, the same questions we ask of each candidate. And we have 19 candidates that are just amazing, so it's going to be a hard decision. We're going to decide next week. So, and our youth commissioner, Emma, will start us off with the questions.
When were you first aware that you were a creative?
If I'm being really honest with you, I never believed I was creative. I've always really struggled with being like someone who's creative. My mother's very creative, and I definitely do not go up to her level. I'm a very expressive person, and I think that's where I get my writing from. I like to express the way I feel or express my experiences, and just like kind of connect them to like a story. I usually take a lot of inspiration from books I read and stuff, so I just think it's just inspiration rather than creativity for me.
Expressing is a form of creativity for sure. How do you want your art to impact others?
I want my art to impact others by the form they perceive it. I'm very big on art being something that is within you. Like, for example, I'm someone, again, who I'm not good at, like, telling people the way I feel, so I think they're the unspoken words within me that, like, are shown through art. So I think it's just, yeah, I don't know. I forgot the question, I'm sorry.
Do you want to hear it again?
Yes, please.
Okay. How do you want your art to impact others?
Oh, right. I want people to like resonate and accept their own story and to be able to reflect upon it. And I think when I write, I do that a lot. I reflect on my past and just kind of open up to it and view it from a different and older perspective than what I was then.
Can you think of a moment that someone read something you wrote or somebody was responding and it surprised you?
Yeah. I have a friend who kind of went through the same situation when moving from a different country and stuff. And she like really kind of resonated with my story. She's like, I feel this way, but I've never really like made people understand the way I felt in that moment or felt when I moved. So like she really kind of connected with my story and we kind of bonded over it, which I think that's like what art is, like bonding through different things. And even if it's writing or photography or art, I think it's just like the way you connect with others and the way you perceive yourself through art.
What would you say are your artistic strengths and weaknesses?
Ooh. My artistic strength definitely is coming up with like ideas. I'm very, very good at like having ideas and like not executing. That's my weakness right there. Executing my ideas. I'm very bad at like being able to express that idea because my mind is like, okay, I need to add this, this, and this, and then when I read it again, I'm like, this doesn't sound good. So it's just like being able to like formally write my creative quote unquote ideas and story, I guess. Yeah.
So what do you think separates your art from other students' art?
I don't necessarily think my art separates from other people, but I do believe that it separates, like, people perceive my art differently, and that's what kind of separates it in a way. I think art is very, I don't know how to explain this. It's very equal, but definitely the way people perceive it is differently. So I don't know. I didn't think about this. I think that people connect with it differently because everyone has lived through different experiences, and some might connect with me a little bit more on different like levels, like, oh, maybe this happened to me too and I felt this way, or maybe some be like, oh, I don't really connect with this, but I see your idea and perspective and I resonate with this a little bit differently. So it's just, yeah. Sorry.
What are you hungry to learn or explore further?
Oh, everything. I'm very curious and I question a lot of things, so I would like to know everything. I mean, there's never an ending point when coming with knowledge. There's something to learn every single day, even like when you're older. There's something new you learn every day. So I think I just hope to learn the most before I grow old.
How do you hope your art transforms, and what steps will you take to make that happen?
I hope my art transforms through emotions. I really would like people to be able to kind of connect through a more personal level and like be able to look at it from different perspectives, and kind of also like once you read a story once and twice, you get a different view on it and you get little points, like new points every time. So I hope people do that and like connect it to their own life and just be like, oh, I really enjoy reading this, and just kind of like resonating with it. Oh, and the steps to get there, probably just keep getting inspiration. I love to read, so I get inspiration from other people, and I think if I resonate with this, I feel like other people would resonate with this, so I kind of try to connect my form of art with other books. So like for the story I wrote, I connected it to Dracula by Bram Stoker, so a little gothic connection kind of. So that's, yeah, reading, more inspirations. Yeah.
What are you currently working on?
So I did 3 chapters for this story, and I just finished the 3rd chapter, which was my ending. So hopefully I keep writing on it, but I'm not sure. Currently I'm just hoping to have a spark in me to keep writing something new and just more not gothic and different genre. I don't know, I'm just getting inspiration as of right now.
So, what would you say that art means to you?
Like I said previously, I think it means the unspoken words and feelings within someone, and especially me, and being able to express it not through words but through something else, whether that be painting, filming, photograph, or for me it's writing. So I think it just means like a level of personal awareness, and just being able to be like, okay, I feel this way, but I don't know how to express it, and so I figure out a different way to express it.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with the commission?
I don't believe so.
So we will decide next week at our next commission meeting And we'll be letting people know, but there were 19 amazing people that applied. So thank you very much.
Thank you so
and
much.
hope this was a fun
Yes.
experience for you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Good luck. Next, we have Olivia. Hi, Olivia.
Hi. Oh, was that really loud? Or is that fine?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's we realize this is pretty formal and a little bit. A lot of people aren't very used to it, but
It's okay.
yeah, we're all friendly here.
Okay,
So,
great. I think
yeah.
my friend used to be the youth commissioner, Izzy Peterson.
Oh,
I think
that's
she was
right.
it before Emma,
Yeah.
but she said she loved it. So.
Yeah. So welcome, and we're going to ask the same questions we
Okay.
ask everyone. You're welcome to stay after if you want
Great.
to watch or listen, and it is being recorded, but not live.
Where's the
So,
camera?
The cameras.
Oh,
are,
wow.
all around
Great.
the room. So.
Oh my goodness.
So if
This is
you-
legit.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
We are professional.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Very official.
Yeah. So our youth commissioner Emma will ask her the first question.
Okay, great.
Okay, when were you first aware that you were a creative?
I think the first time I was aware I was a creative was in elementary school when I realized I'm not really that good at any of the other subjects in school. And so my art teacher always encouraged me to like try different things and really like hone in on my skills. And I mean, that was the first time I was really like introduced to art, but the first time I would say I knew I was a creative was this past summer. I did a summer program in New York at Vogue School of Fashion. And when I was there, I got to have the opportunity to be on the set of an editorial photo shoot. And while I was there, I was able to do the music, do the lighting, tell the model what poses to do. And I had this whole idea in my head beforehand. And then right when I got onto the set, I was like, boom, let's go. This is what we're doing, lady. Like, this is the vibe I want. I don't know, I just felt like the boss of everyone, even though I actually wasn't because I had like someone watching me. But I don't know, I just felt like I was able to really put my vision to life, and all the thoughts in my head I put to the scene, and it was really special.
How do you want your art to impact others?
That's kind of a hard question because I feel like everyone's gonna take all my artwork so differently, because I would say I have a very specific like style. I love color, I love patterns, I love just having brightness and positivity through my work. So I would say it would kind of give them a new approach of what art can be, because I like lots of different mediums, especially fashion and collaging and glitter and all the fun stuff. But I would say my art's not really just one category, so I think it would open up others' eyes to how many different ways art can be interpreted.
What would you say your strengths are, and what do you see as your weaknesses?
I would say my weakness for the most part is that I'm still kind of trying to figure out what I want out of art and what I want to do with it in my life, because I feel like I can take it in so many different ways. Like, I could become an art director, I could become like a photographer. I don't know, I just don't really know what I want out of it yet, and I'm still trying to figure that out. But I would say my strength is, in this day and age, a lot of people have been using AI to create art, and I would say I don't find any of my inspiration online, and all of it just comes off the dome. And I don't know, I just don't really enjoy thinking of ideas from the internet, and I'd rather just think of it in my head. So I think that's a strength of mine.
What would you say separates your work from other student artists' work?
I would say something that separates my work is I'm kind of interested in things that aren't really like your basic artist would be into. Like, I'm not super into just like painting a picture. Like, I'd rather create an entire like element and a whole scene with a piece, especially in like photography. And like, one of the pieces I submitted was a mask with a bunch of pieces of shattered CDs, and I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have just thought of that. And I think outside of the box, and I don't really think of classic things like a super detailed painting with like every tree having 3 leaves or something like that. I think of very like outside of the box and not really like your classic artist things in a way, I would say.
How do you hope your art transforms or develops, and what steps will you take to get there?
Something I really want to like learn more about is printmaking. I'm interning for this woman who has a printmaking label out of Oakland, but I've just been learning about the history of printmaking in general and how it's kind of a lost art and it's starting to kind of die out, but I kind of want to learn more about how I can do more printmaking and get better at it because I think it's something very cool and I'm interested in it, so I'm trying to work on that.
What are you currently working on besides, your printmaking?
What am I currently working on? In school right now, we're working on ceramics, so I'm learning how to do ceramics on the wheel, and I'm really interested in learning more about that because I think pottery is really fun, and I want to get better at it, and yeah, I think it's very fun, and I want to improve.
I feel like you've kind of answered 7 with the printmaking and the ceramics. So I'm going to go to 8. What does art mean to you? But if there's something else
I
you're
actually
hungry
have
to
something
learn?
for 7.
Okay, let's do
that
it.
I wrote down.
What are you
that I was
hungry,
thinking of.
other than the ceramics and the printmaking, what else are you hungry to learn?
I am hungry to learn about the history of fashion in other nations because I did a SRJC class about the history of fashion in America through different time periods, and I thought that was really cool. So I kind of want to know about how fashion has been changed throughout periods of time due to political and economic factors in other nations because I don't know, I just feel like that's something really cool and I want to learn more about that.
Great, thank you for making me ask.
So what does art mean to you in your life?
I would say art has always been a big part of my life because it's just everywhere and it always finds its way back to me. Even if I'm not making art for a period of time, I've always just been enthralled by it. And I don't know, I've struggled a lot in high school with my mental health, and I've always found art is something to keep me sane and make me feel safe. And it's just a spot where I can let out everything I'm feeling, all my stress about life and school. I just put it right into whatever I'm creating, and it just has always been there for me. So I kind of want to do it a favor and make it proud of me by making great stuff.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
I think that is it.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Nice job, and
Thank you.
you'll hear from us. And you're welcome to stay if you want. Angela? We know this is a little formal.
Yeah.
It is being recorded for the public, but not live streamed.
Okay.
So we have to do that in order to be transparent. So we're going to ask the same questions, and out of fairness, we want to do it just like we did the last time. Emma?
When were you first aware that you were creative?
I think I was aware that I was creative in elementary school. I was acknowledged for my writing skills in 4th grade. I loved writing fictional stories, and I always wanted to be an author. And everyone in the school knew I wanted to be an author, my teachers. And I actually joined a writing contest, and I ended up placing in 2nd place. So I was really proud of my work then. And then I realized it wasn't something I wanted to do, and I branched out into art. I took a bunch of art classes in middle school. I enjoyed painting and drawing, and now in high school I'm still pursuing art classes, and yeah.
How do you want your art to impact others?
I want others to appreciate everyday life and the beauty of just small objects. The pieces I submitted, they all just come from my personal interests, and I feel like it
creates a sense of community for other people who also have those similar interests.
Are your ceramic pieces pretty small then?
No,
Okay.
they're around like figurine sizes. They're around like 3-5 inches.
What are your artistic strengths and weaknesses?
For strengths, I feel like I'm really open to a bunch of materials. I recently learned that I love sewing, and I think that's because in my class we started a sewing project, and ever since then I've wanted to like start thrifting clothes and just fixing up like a bunch of clothes that I have in my closet. And I think that another one of my strengths is that it stems from my interests rather than other people's work. I don't like recreate what I see on the internet, rather what I enjoy. And for weakness, I tend to drive towards perfection, and it often leads to like self-doubt, and I start overthinking whether my piece is worthy enough. And there was this time that I had a piece that I wasn't very proud of, and I actually submitted it on my portfolio. It was the building, and I just spent hours on it, and I just did not like the way it looked. And it was put up on art show, and it actually got sold, and it made me realize that like something I think doesn't mean so much can mean so much to another person.
You said a bit about this, but what do you think separates your artwork from other students' artwork?
My pieces are inspired by who I am as a person, and I feel like it just holds like my story, and it holds like these memories. Every piece that I make is based on what I enjoy the most, and also part of it is my culture as well. Things I see around my house, I just kind of go in and use that as my inspiration.
How do you hope your art transforms, and what steps will you take to get there?
I hope my art transforms through. There's actually this major I want to pursue, architecture, and I feel like that really stems from my interest in art. I want to use my artistic skills to design structures and buildings that are aesthetically pleasing, as well as eco-friendly, and create a sense of place for people and feel as if they belong in that community.
What are you currently working on?
I'm not working on any like personal pieces, but in my ceramics class where I'm finishing up a tea set that's Japanese inspired.
What are you hungry to learn and explore more?
I think I'm hungry to learn how to use oil paints. I don't think I'm the best with painting on canvases, and I really want to work on that.
What does art mean in your life?
To me, art is creating a piece that connects people. It doesn't need to be big. It can be something small that really speaks to someone else, and it could just create communities. I've made a bunch of friends through my artwork. They always tell me how much they're interested in something that I'm also interested in. And yeah, it just makes me feel as if, you know, I have this community along with me.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Not really, other than I'm grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you. I hope it was a good process for you, and next week we'll be deciding.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Angela.
did, and our 5 o'clock had to change something, so we may just have a little bit of a break. I did try to reach out to fill it in, so if they are able to make it, they will, but we may just have a little breather. You can catch up or not. Sienna is at 5:10, so the 5 o'clock is out because we're not. There was somebody who let me know in advance, but not in advance enough for me to make sure. Yes, they just had to move it. Yeah. No. We should, and because things tend to move earlier, there is somebody we are slotting them in, but the expectation, as has happened in the past, is that we tend to run a little faster, so there will be a block of time, and they're aware that we'll be fitting them in as where we can. There is another break that was originally built in around, I think it's 6:10 if my memory
6:10,
serves,
yeah.
6:10, so about every hour. So if you would like to take a little break.
Yes.
Madam
You can
Chair.
compile your notes. If you need to step away, that's totally fine.
Hi, Grace, come on up. Welcome to the Cultural and Fine Arts Commission. This is pretty formal and a little spooky, scary, but we're all artists here and understand what it looks like. So this is being recorded, but it's not being live streamed, so that our commissioners that are not here will be able to see and appreciate what you're talking about. And also, it will be available to the public because we have to make these very public to be transparent. So we're asking the same questions of everyone. And Emma is our youth commissioner, and Emma will start us off.
When were you first aware that you were a creative?
I feel as if I've always been a pretty creative person, and I've always been told I've been quite creative, but I feel like since I had a really hard time in school growing up because I'm severely dyslexic, I went more towards the creative side, and that was more my outlet, so I really went towards dance, what I submitted. But I also do a lot of art, sewing, crocheting, like anything with my hands was kind of like my outlet from hard school stuff. Yes.
How do you want your art to impact others?
I would like my art or my dancing to make people feel the way I feel, so like freeing and happy or just inspired.
What would you say your strengths and your weaknesses are? And we've read your statement, so we know you were injured. So I'm sure that's a factor, but generally, what would you say your artistic strengths and weaknesses are?
I would say that I'm definitely perseverant, and I try very hard, even if I don't really want to. You keep going, which can bite you in the butt and get you injured, which is a weakness, I would say, too. But for a weakness, I would say, like, self-doubt or lacking self-confidence, which I've definitely gotten better at over time with dance. But, yeah.
What would you say separates your work from other students' work?
Well, I feel like for ballet and dancing, everybody's quite, like, even if you're trained by the same exact person, everybody's has their own artistic difference. But for me, I would say that I really enjoy what I'm doing, and I feel like that shows, like, my passion shows through the way I dance, and yeah.
So how do you hope your art transforms, and what steps are you going to take to get there?
I hope that my art transforms by me taking the next step, which would be going from a small studio to a company, which is like the dream. But to take those next steps, it would be lots of hard work, lots of auditioning, putting yourself out there even though you might get rejected a couple times, which has happened, but taking those like next steps are important.
What are you currently working on?
So I'm currently injured, so I can't really dance right now. But I would say I'm working on my relationship with dance and recovering from burnout, I would say, like noticing like, oh, I was a little bit burnout and recovering from that and realizing how important dance is to me. Because when something's stripped away from you, you realize how important it is. So definitely noticing, like, being grateful for what I have and what I'm able to do.
Great. What are you hungry to learn or explore more?
I want to explore what my greatest potential is and really like take the time to work hard to figure out like how far I can go, how far I can push myself, and to find what that end goal is, which will take a lot of time and a lot of work, but that's the goal.
What does the arts, in particular dance, mean to you in your life?
To me, ballet has been a very big outlet, and it's like a second home. It's a place where I can express myself without using words, which is a very big thing for me because being dyslexic, words don't come easily. So that's definitely very important.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
I don't think so. I think that's all.
Thank you for coming, and we'll decide in the next week. So
All right, thank
appreciate
you.
it, and you're welcome to stay if you want to hear others.
Thank you.
Sure. Next we have Sienna. Sienna Kelly. Hi, Sienna.
Hi.
This is Culture and Fine Arts Commission. We are recording,
Cool.
and it is not being live streamed.
All right.
It's taped, but will be available for the public and also for our commissioners that aren't here.
Sure.
So that they can hear you and know what you're about. So
All right.
Emma is our youth commissioner, and she will start us where we ask the same questions of each candidate.
Cool. Sounds good.
When were you first aware that you were creative?
Oh, that's a really good question. I feel like, I don't know, being creative and creating art has been such a part of my life since I can think, like my first memory probably. But like in terms of my particular creative outlet, which would be like filmmaking and writing for the screen, I'd say not only like 2 years ago when I took a creative arts class or a media arts class at the high school, and I kind of realized that this was an outlet of creativity that I'd always been searching for and always been looking to combine multimedia to make a visual piece of media.
Great. How do you want your art, or more specifically your videos, to impact others?
Well, impact is the goal, I think. The goal is to leave a lasting impression on someone and to make them think differently after, they've witnessed your piece. And just, if they can take a little something away, the message that you're trying to send or the purpose of your art, if it makes them rethink themselves a little bit, I think that's probably my ultimate goal.
What would you say are your strengths artistically and your weaknesses?
Well, maybe for weaknesses, I can get really hung up on the details and very focused in on making every little thing perfect instead of thinking of the big picture of what I'm actually trying to convey or say, and maybe get hung up on one specific shot and not think about how it will impact the story as a whole. Strengths is I really strive for challenge, and I strive to push myself to my limits and learn things that I didn't know I could do, and just constantly expanding my mindset and my breadth of my abilities, I think.
What would you say separates your work from other students' work?
I think that I'm always trying to make art that is saying something about the world that I'm living in. So using my film as a way to process the world the things and the people that I engage with and the people that I meet and all the things I experience. I love to just combine that into creating characters and creating storylines and creating, something that just feels authentic. I think that my art is really authentic to who I am and authentic to my peers and the people I'm living with and the things that I see happening.
How do you hope your art transforms, and what steps will you take to get there?
Well, in terms of goals for my art, I'm hoping to go to film school in the fall, and I'm hoping to work either as cinematographer, a director, or an editor, so kind of a broad amount of things. But I'm really excited to see how I learn to make the art and how I learn to make the art part of an industry, because the film industry in itself is something that's very separate from the actual act of creating it. So learning how to have my art engage in both an industrial world and in a way that also is thoughtful and meaningful, and just over time hoping to dedicate my life to creating films.
working on?
Well, I just this last weekend, I finished editing my movie for the Sonoma Student International Film Festival. It is a 17-minute short about a cowboy who was born with her brain outside her body, and she meets a character who becomes the representation of the heart. So it's called The Head and the Heart. And will actually be at the film festival this Friday and Saturday. So yeah, I just finished working on that, and then hopefully more short films to come over the summertime.
What are you hungry to learn or explore further?
It's hard to say everything. Like I'm really excited. I'm excited to explore writing and writing for film and television, because it's something that's like I found really challenging. Like this last short film I just finished, I really like sat down and tried to make something that had a storyline and was character based, and that it was so like challenging to my own like abilities to convey these ideas and use motifs and symbols through just the interactions of characters and the visuals on screen. So I'm hungry for that, but I'm hungry for the creativity, and I'm hungry for the self-expression and like just putting something out there that's me.
What does art, and in specific, if you went to film, video, media, mean to you in your life?
It's my whole world. It really like making film has become something that I feel like I get to embody and that I get to be. Like I get to be a filmmaker. That's something that I am, and something I also get to do. So I mentioned like it's just a form of self-expression as well. It's a way of showing who I am. It's a way of processing the things that I experience and the things people around me experience. Like learning from people and interacting with friends and peers and just maybe colleagues or something, and taking in their life experiences and thinking how, like, on the greater scale of their empathy, like that kind of stuff. I think it just really, it means like human connection, and it means humanity, and I'm so interested in exploring and discovering how my like making films can give me a deeper insight into how we live as people.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really grateful to be here, and especially be someone in Sonoma that's being creative, and also share like an environment with all these students here who are also equally creative and talented. So just thank you guys so much for your time and consideration.
So when is the student films being shown?
So there's one show on Friday that is this Friday, and it's during the school day, and it's a longer show. So if you want to see all the student films, it's a 3-hour show. It starts at probably 10:30 in the morning, and then there's one on Saturday, and that one is at 1 p.m. It'll be about 25 student films, and like generally the best of what the classes have created at the high school.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks
guys.
for coming.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Up next, I think, is Vanessa. Welcome, Vanessa. Please don't worry about how formal this is. We're all very friendly here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes, we appreciate you coming. And we're asking the same questions of every person to keep it fair. It also will be filmed, but it's not being live streamed.
Okay.
So that way our commissioners that aren't here can hear you, and that helps with our decisions. So
Okay.
Emma will start us.
When were you first aware that you were creative?
Well, I've like always had this sort of like craftiness to me since I was a kid. I always used to make like clothes for my own dolls, like out of socks and all those things, because when I couldn't afford like the real clothes, and I would make my own accessories, and I would make even accessories for myself. And I was always like, I always would draw a lot in elementary school and like play a lot around with art things, especially like starting even in first grade. People would even ask me like, hey, can you draw this for me? Or like, oh, can you draw this character for me? And then, yeah, I've always been sort of an art kid.
How do you want your art to impact others?
I wanted to make people feel like some sort of like happiness, like looking at it. All the art that I put in my portfolio is like super bright and really pastel colors, and I want them to feel just some sort of like satisfaction and like, you know, brightness, like feeling.
What would you say your artistic strengths are, and what do you think your weaknesses are?
Well, I feel like I have sort of like an always like a like I can do this style, or like I can do this personality, even when like things seem like a little bit more difficult than like I'm usually used to. I always still go through with it. And I apply that to like every single project of mine, and I'd say probably everything I do is maybe an example of that, honestly. And I'd say along with that, though, my weakness might be being a little bit too hard on myself when it comes to my art. A lot of the time, I feel like I've always been a little bit too hard on myself. Like whenever I'm showing my friends my art, I'm like, oh, don't look at this isn't final, or like, oh, wait, this isn't done, just don't look at this part. And then they tell me things like, oh, wait, this looks really good, or like, oh, did you make this? And I was like, yeah. So, yeah, I feel like I could be a little bit more like easier on myself.
What would you say separates your work from other students' work?
Well, I'd say it's probably like my sort of imagination that I put whenever it comes into making my art. I have a kind of like playful one, so I always make sure to put the extra time and effort, extra hours to make sure that's like shown for my art, and I show like my personality and myself as an artist into each of my pieces.
So how do you hope your art transforms, and what steps will you take to get there?
Well, I would like to extend my education in art into university, whether it be through a major or minor. And now, like going into leaving senior year, I'm thinking, since a lot of people have told me, like when I say like, oh, I might pursue art, they're like, oh, like oh, do this instead, or like do that instead. And I'm like, now that I'm like almost done with high school, I'm thinking I want to do this for the rest of my life. And I want to be able to do that in university. And I also want to start looking into broadening my area by like opening up art commissions as well. Because people have always told me like, oh, you should start making art commissions. And yeah, that is something I'm currently looking into.
What are you currently working on?
I am currently working on a ceramic tea set. It's a cherry blossom, like white cherry blossom theme. And funny thing is like the teapot, I looked at it for 1 second and I thought, this kind of looks like an elephant because of like, you know, the little teapot style. So it wasn't supposed to be an elephant before, but I made an elephant because I wanted to. So yeah, and kind of more of an example of like my sort of style. And like, even though it wasn't completely on theme currently, it's actually looking really nice. And as of today, I am now also starting to work on the advertisement poster for the Sonoma Valley High School art show.
What else are you hungry to learn or explore further?
I'd say I want to go more deeper into like more like deeper themes or like deeper messages, and try to convey that more into my designs, since like recently I've seen like a lot of like art on my Instagram feed that like manages to portray that, and I really want to try exploring that area for my art in a way that is like easy to convey that message to others, and like an easy way for others to understand.
What does art mean to you and in your life?
I'd say like art has sort of been like always a second personality for me. It's been a second way of like expressing myself, and if not even a second way, honestly, like a full way of expressing myself. Even since elementary school, I've been sort of usually the shy kid, so it sort of became like an outlet for me to like calm myself and like express myself, like even like through visuals and not just words.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me, and yeah, thank you for considering me. Thank you.
Thank you. This was fun, and we hope it was fun for you too.
Yes, it was.
Appreciate it.
And Madam Chair, we are a little bit ahead of a schedule here, and so we moved Grace up into that open time slot. So we're expecting Colin will be our next one. He's slated for 5:40, but most likely we'll be here a little bit early and can have him ready to go when you guys are.
Sorry for interrupting. If you can use your microphones just so we can, because this is, so we can pick it up. Thank you.
So we need to record. Got it. Sorry. So we're just talking right now about the questions and whether they're working for us or whether some are redundant. And we have a couple that we're thinking we might want to refine. Anything we're missing?
I was thinking that something about how would you like your art to impact your community or something like that would be good.
Yeah. Add community or the world or. Yeah. Okay. Microphone on.
Like, why did you select these particular pieces to submit for this amongst all of your work?
That's a really good question.
You know,
Because the fashion girl was, I didn't see any fashion work.
Right.
And so there was you wrote about fashion, but I didn't see any fashion. So it was interesting to me because that made me curious, which is always trouble.
Well, you know what it did to the cat, right? Yeah, no, this is good though. It's fascinating. I was not this worldly. I was getting into trouble in skateboarding.
I think there are a few quotes. I've been working on different articles to write, and there are some things that kids are saying that are just really powerful or fascinating to explore. The process alone is probably worth writing about. You know, what we discover about students and their artwork. Shy people coming up, and they don't seem shy because they're talking about their artwork.
Right,
And
that's true.
That whole shyness disappears. They just glow.
Send it to the school board. Cutting art left and right. Send it over to them. No art in elementary. What's happening? It's like, no.
There hasn't been for years.
Will there be art in middle school next year? Only time will tell. It's just send these portfolios to the school board.
But if we were sitting up here and making decisions, it would be a little different. I
Running
don't
for
want to
school
run
board.
for school board, no. I'm happy where I'm at.
Madam Chair, as we're waiting for our next student to arrive, you have a couple options. You can continue to have open discussions, or if you want to take, you can essentially recess for, we can say, 5 minutes if you'd like. And I know we just took a break, but you can, so we can keep recording, or we can, for those watching the recording, we can
Let's
take
take a
a
recess.
quick recess and come back in 5 minutes. I think Colin should be here by then.
That'd be great.
Take five.
Let's
Take
wait.
5, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. And we've just taken a quick break, so we're back
Okay.
in. And thank you for being here. This is pretty formal.
Of course.
It's being recorded, but not live streamed.
Okay.
And so that our commissioners that aren't here will be able to review it, because
Yeah.
not everybody could come. And so We're asking everybody the same questions,
Uh-huh.
and we'll probably decide next week at our next commission meeting. So, and Emma, our youth commissioner, is going to start out the questions.
When were you first aware that you were creative?
I think back to my sophomore year of high school, I had an art class, and I remember doing a sketch of a face, and we also did shading sketches, and I think I don't know, it came kind of easy. I remember, like, growing up, I was pretty artistic. I was putting a puzzle piece together, and I started making a little beat with my hands. And my dad has a video. It's pretty funny. But, yeah, mostly high school is when I kind of when I realized that I was pretty artistic. But not on the guitar, just on the kind of painting and drawing side of it.
When did you begin guitar?
I first started when I was in like 5th grade. One of my friends taught me a song, and one of my dad's friends plays the guitar, and he taught me. But I really just started playing daily, like a lot more, probably the last 2 years.
How do you want your music to impact others, the community, the world,
Yeah.
whoever?
Yeah, there's like, for example, like listening to a song that you really enjoy, something just kind of happens in your brain, and you like when I listen to a song I really like, I just love the feeling of, you can't really explain it, but it's just good. I want to be able to provide that feeling, because the only other better feeling than you feeling it yourself is providing that to others. And yeah, I want to be able to share my work and provide that feeling for other people.
What would you say separates your work from other students' work?
I think the way that I look at things, I could say, I guess I just kind of look at things from a different perspective. Like, I have a way of kind of interpreting, like if something sounds off or looks off, I can kind of take a step back, look at it, and kind of use my creativity to find a way around it, or just keep working at something till it sounds right or looks right. I don't want to pass something if it's not as good as it can be, kind of,
How do you hope your art transforms, and what steps will you take to get
there? I want to continue songwriting. I really enjoy the process, and it's a big hobby to me, songwriting. I want to keep playing out in front of people as much as I can, because that's like, I never really enjoyed, I was never someone to be very expressive with my work, so playing in front of people is hard for me, and I love to do it because I'm getting better. Yeah.
What are your artistic strengths and weaknesses?
I'd say one of my weaknesses is, especially when I paint sometimes. I have an art class, so I can tend to get a little frustrated sometimes with, it's kind of, you need patience for stuff like that, and sometimes I can get a little frustrated if it's not going my way. But strengths, I think that I'm pretty creative. I think, like I said earlier, I can find ways around certain obstacles, and yeah, I like to use my creativity and interpret. Like I love to create my own kind of things in my paintings. Whenever I'm painting, I don't just I start with a plan and then I usually go completely sideways from it because I like to add things in as I go. I guess that's my creativity is a strength.
What are you currently working on?
I do a lot of songwriting, and I'm currently working on a few projects. I also am working on increasing my repertoire for cover songs because I've been doing open mics at Hot Monk. So the manager told me that if I get a 45-minute set list, I can play on the deck. So I want to increase my cover repertoire.
What are you hungry to learn?
I think, like I said before, I've never been someone to, in class, I never wanted to raise my hand and participate, ask questions. I was always nervous of public spaces, and so performing in front of other people is hard for me. I get nervous, but I really enjoy. I like the feeling. I like to know that I'm getting better every time I do it. So I want to keep putting myself in uncomfortable situations so that I know that I'm growing and getting better.
What would you say your art or music means to you?
Music or art in general means a lot to me. I think I've had art has had a lot to do with me my whole life. I see art in a lot of things, like out in nature. I'll create something in the dirt, or like I really love listening to music. Music is a big part of my life. It's helped me through a few things, like specifically guitar. Whatever mood I'm in, whenever I'm down, I love to play and share my emotions through the guitar. That's a way of getting over things easily for me. So yeah, it means a lot to me.
Cool. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I think that, yeah, in the past few years of my life, I've been growing and experimenting a lot. So where I am now is exponentially different from where I was a few years ago, and so music it's a big part of me, and it's helped me grow a lot. And I feel like I'm getting better and better each day, and I love that.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When is the open mic night? Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wednesdays at 7.
Cool. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You may see us.
Yeah. Thank you,
sure.
guys.
And you didn't appear nervous at all. I think
Thank
you're
you.
doing fine on stage fright.
Yeah. Thank you. Is that
Okay, so we'll be deciding next week.
okay?
Thanks so much.
Thank you
for
guys
coming.
for your consideration.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so shall we take another break? Got a lot of little breaks.
We can have a lot of little breaks, little breathers, but we did request that people show up if they could 10 to 15 minutes ahead.
Good.
So the idea being that that is actually is not the exact time. The exact time is 5:41. So it is hopefully that people will kind of come early and that will fill in the gap.
Okay.
But there's a chance that she could come in from now until her scheduled time.
So we'll
it's
be
up
ready.
to you, but we can be ready. And
I'd say let's adjourn. That way we can be more casual.
Great.
So, and Emma is our youth commissioner, and she's going to start us off tonight.
Okay.
When were you first aware that you were a creative person?
I would say that I was first aware creative around the ages of 7 through 10 years old. And the reason why I say that is because that's when I really started to go out of my way to engage more in art, such as joining art groups, for example, Artiscape in Sonoma. And on my own time, I would also look up YouTube tutorials on how to draw or learn how to do new things revolving art. And Also seeing my peers, teachers, family, and friends' reactions to my art pieces around that age and seeing how much that they were impressed by it. And I guess just seeing that or realizing that other people knew that I was also creative helped me realize that I was creative. That really helped a lot.
Great. How do you want your art to impact others?
I want my art to impact others in an even more positive way than it is currently, which, as mentioned in my essay, I mentioned that my main motivation to creating art is to make other people happy. I mentioned that it's like a domino effect. For example, when I make art for my friends or family or even displaying it in public, and seeing their positive reactions to it also makes me have a positive reaction. So it's just an ongoing domino effect and a really good cycle to see.
What would you say are your strengths artistically, and what are your weaknesses, do you think?
I would say that my strengths are being able to adapt to different kinds of mediums easily. For example, drawing and painting with acrylic paints or watercolor, or also clay, using clay. And I would say my weakness would probably be tending to be somewhat of a perfectionist. For example, I notice that my friends or family always say that, like, oh, your artwork's perfect, it's perfect the way it is, but I always find one little thing to fix. So I would say that would be my weakness.
What would you say separates your work from other student work?
I would say what separates my art from other students' artwork would have to be the meaning behind it and the reason why I do it. As I said previously, my motivation, which is the domino effect that I talked about earlier, and how personal that is to me. So I would say that's what separates it from other people's artwork.
Oh, the domino effect. I'm gonna steal that. Let's see. So, how do you hope your art transforms, and what steps will you take to get there?
I hope that my art transforms into an even more positive way than it already is right now. For example, for my future career that I want to do is occupational therapy, but become an occupational therapy assistant. And I want my art to not just be a hobby or something that I do in school, but to also include it in my future career with my patients in occupational therapy. For example, using art for fine motor skills or cognitive art projects, like to get the brain really thinking outside the box.
As of right now, what are you working on?
I'm currently working on a ceramic teapot set that's actually for my mom, which actually she didn't know this, but it's Snoopy themed because her favorite character is Snoopy and her favorite color, which is pink, and I know that's something that'll make her really happy. So that's what I'm currently working on.
What are you hungry to learn or explore more?
I would say that I'm hungry to learn how to specifically and exactly incorporate art into my future career. Like I mentioned before, occupational therapy. I would really want to study in the future, or really in a few months, since I'm moving on to college in a few months, learn how to incorporate art into occupational therapy.
What does art mean to you in your life?
I would say that art means love and happiness and my future. I say that it means love because I do it for the people who I love, for example, my friends, my family, but I also say it's happiness because I know it brings them happiness. But not only my friends and family, also the public. For example, as mentioned in my essay as well, I won the Best Drawing Award in 2023, my freshman year, for the Sonoma Valley High School Visual Arts exhibit. So also seeing that people have a positive reaction to my art, not just my friends and family, but also the public, I say that really meant a lot to me.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
Yes, I'd like to say that I'm really grateful to be here and for this opportunity, and just thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. We'll be
Thank you.
deciding next week, and the video will be available to watch.
Okay.
So it will be available to the public, and you did very well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. I just have one more question. Am I able to stay here, Meanwhile, for the whole meeting? Is that fine?
Absolutely. You're
Okay.
welcome to stay and watch others.
Okay, thank you.
It's actually kind of fun.
Thank you.
We're again ahead of schedule. I don't think we've ever been this far ahead of schedule.
And I might make a recommendation. We do have a scheduled break that starts at 6:10 with our next one coming at 6. So perhaps we stay ready for the next one that comes in, and then we'll have kind of a lump time there that we can step aside.
I think we killed a lot of trees for this student award.
It's all recycled paper.
Oh, good. Very good.
Out of the goodness of our hearts and the law right now. So
I appreciate the organization that went into just the packet alone. My goodness.
And this, I think the process of waiting a week is just incredibly helpful. I would encourage us, I know it's hard to book this space and do this, but I think our decision making is much better because of it. And even when we aren't deciding people, but we're deciding projects, having the time to step away and really process it. All these decisions are important, and it's really helping me not to feel the pressure of the moment.
Yeah, we appreciate the feedback, and I think one thing that will be helpful is when we complete the process is have an opportunity to sit back down with the ad hoc shortly after and do a debrief so we have notes ready when we head into next year's process.
We have come a long way since sitting in the city building with all these materials shuffled and trying to schedule and get in and listen to recordings on funky machines and being able to listen to all these people talk. It's really helpful.
Madam Chair, just a reminder on your microphone.
Hi, Cassandra. Welcome.
Hello.
We appreciate you being here. We know this is kind of a little formal,
Mhm.
but we have to be, it's a professional meeting, city meeting, so it has to be this way. But we're all artists ourselves, and so we know it's a little formal, but we hope you'll relax and not worry about it. So,
Yeah, I'm taking deep breaths, calming myself down.
yeah, absolutely. And we're talking about art, and so it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And so this is recorded, and it's not live streamed, but it is being recorded because we have commissioners that are missing, and so they need to be able to see the interviews, and they're really interested in hearing all of you. And so we ask the same questions of each candidate, and our youth commissioner, Emma, is going to start us off tonight, and we're going to talk about art.
When were you first aware that you were a creative?
When I'd say the most I'd remember being very creative was starting off in second grade. I would draw these little comic strips about the Pokemon Pikachu and Mimikyu and show them around to friends. They weren't really that impressive, but my teacher at the time, she took a notice, and one day she handed me a little sketchbook that's start drawing. Where that sketchbook is, have no idea. Most of my pre-COVID art, I'd say, is probably lost. So
How do you want your art to impact others?
I'd say I want my art to. I'd want it to be a huge inspiration for others. Like how many artists have done to me. I'd want anyone to see my art and be at awe and want to grow and become more talented.
What would you say your artistic strengths are, and what are your artistic weaknesses?
I'd say my weakness would be with procrastination, but I'd say I make up with it with character design and coloring. Those are what I tend to do most, so yeah.
What would you say separates your work from other students' work?
I'd say compared to other students, I'm always trying to do something more grandiose, trying to experiment with new styles, trying to improve in one section that I lacked in before, and try to, level up my art compared that it was like a few weeks ago or a month ago.
Yeah, so I guess touching on that, how do you hope that your art transforms, and what steps will you take to get there?
I'm really looking to evolve my art to become very professional looking. Currently, I'd say I'm taking every step in trying new styles, seeing what I can learn from those, and how I could add those to my own.
As of right now, what are you working on?
Currently, on topic to taking styles, doing little cheat where I'm drawing in different styles, and especially experimenting with much more chibier designs to see how quickly I can draw those, and then be able to add that to much more bigger projects with much more detailed designs and make it more easier for myself to draw those.
What are you hungry to learn or explore further?
I would love to start animating more, bring some life into my projects, and I would also love to do more comic strips, at least to explore my ideas with characters and their world.
What has art meant to your life?
I'd say art has pretty much been how I view everything. Every moment I think about how I can take what I'm seeing as a tool for my art. Pretty much anything I see, I pretty much take like a little screenshot in my head to remember it as a scene to get better. And I'd say it's pretty much my whole life.
I love that screenshot in my head. Gonna remember that one.
I can't wait to see your comic strip of us sitting here.
Is there anything else you would like to share with us?
Well, I'd say, I'm not sure if you've seen my art projects, but a lot of my, from since COVID, where that's when I started to be much more active with my art and trying to pursue and improving. Ever since then, I first started off drawing on a phone, then evolved to drawing on a touchpad laptop for at least 4 years, or a handful of years before, with my own fingers also. I didn't have any stylus with those before just, I'd say, October, when I swapped to a tablet with a stylus that was given to me by my photography slash graphic design teacher. And I'd say my growth has been really quick with the stylus.
So yeah, so do you want to go in at all into the materials you use and the sizes of the pieces that you submitted? Is this all digital? Are there other media involved? Or?
A majority of them are digital, or my main work is digital, but the program I tend to use is Procreate. One of them, which I believe is one of the black and white ones, which is my character Madre standing next to a road, that was done on Ibis paint with my finger, and the one with the Cafe Soleil, that was for a project in graphic design where I used Adobe Illustrate for that one. Most of my projects, I'd say more recent, have been very, like, I'd say the the size of the canvases tend to be by like slightly over 1,000, over 1,000. It used to be 2,000, but it was more of getting used to my new art program. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's all we've got. Really appreciate you coming in, and we'll know in a week.
All right. Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you for having me.
Sure.
Thank you.
Hope it was fun.
I was going to say, for those in the audience, for the commissioners, now is the official break. So our next scheduled interview is at 6:20. It's now 6:05. I may recommend, if you want to take a 10-minute stretch break, be back ready to go at 6:15 in case our artist is ready at that point in time.
Okay. We're adjourned for a little bit. welcome to the Cultural and Fine Arts Commission.
Thank you.
And Lily, this is going to be recorded, but it's not being live streamed. So, and it's being recorded so that our commissioners that are here can see the interviews too, because they aren't here, and so they need to be able to see. Plus, the public always likes to see these as well. So it'll be live. It'll be on later, not tonight.
Okay.
And we are going to meet next week to decide. So we take a week, we look at all the artwork, we listen to the interviews again and again. And it gets really hard because there's 19 incredible people that have applied from at least 3 or 4 different high schools.
Wow.
And so it's, and every media, creative writing, media, multimedia video, and visual art, music, theater, dance. So it's a big decision. Anyway, we're asking the same questions of everyone, all our applicants, and thank you for applying. Emma's our youth commissioner on cultural and fine arts, and she'll start us out with the questions.
Okay. When were you first aware that you were a creative?
So, from an early age, my parents introduced me to art, and in many of my earliest memories, I was always doing a project. My parents have separated now, and they didn't always get along, but what connected us was art. My mother and father always loved to paint, and we have a lot of paintings hung up from them in our house. But my mom always had me doing projects when I was little, like coloring. We were doing resin kits, friendship, bracelet making, coloring, everything.
How do you want your art to impact others?
I really hope people see it as a positive impact, and I want to show that everyone has the ability to create art, and nothing is too not good enough to be shown to the world.
What do you think your artistic strengths are, and what do you think your weaknesses are?
I would say my biggest strength is being able to work on a project for hours and still keeping interest in it. And I would say one of my weaknesses is feeling like some of my work is not good enough to put out there, but by doing this, I hope that I can encourage others to do the same and put their work out there.
What would you say separates your work from other students' work?
I have a lot of emotion in my work. It comes from me, my history, my background, things that interest me. Sometimes I can see things that, others may not see and build connections through that.
So how do you hope your art transforms, or like Sandra said, evolves over time, and what steps will you take to get there?
Well, I'm always interested in trying new things and experimenting with new art. So I'm really unsure of how my art will transform, but some steps I will take to get there are keep experimenting and trying new things, document all of my work, and just I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess that's it. Sorry, my mind just blanked on what I was gonna say.
Is there currently anything that you're working on?
Well, at school, I'm taking a photography class, which I submitted for, but I'm also taking a 3D design class where I do a lot of ceramics, but I also work on projects at home, like coloring. I did these scratch arts, which I really like. I also did some projects with the Sonoma Valley Education Foundation, which was a good experience for me to pursue my passion in art.
What was that you did?
So it was graphic design work, but I worked for one of their back to school at the market event. So I created and designed their logo and some flyers, postcards, writing, just graphic design work.
What are you hungry to learn or explore further?
Oh, well, currently I'm really into my photography class, but I also would like to further my graphic design abilities and go to college maybe and take classes for that. Yeah, just all of my art skills really. I want to keep going with that.
So what has art meant to you in your life?
Art, it brings me peace, but it also gives me a way to be able to express myself. And at the same time, I also can just have fun and not have to think about all of everything else going on in the world.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
I don't know if you guys want to see this piece, but I put this into the art show last year and it won honorable mention, which I was really proud of. But this was during just a regular art class I took last year, but I really like this piece.
What's it made of?
It's made of construction paper, like a whole bunch of it, and then I, with an X-Acto knife, carved out pieces and glued them together.
Well, that's kind of leads into about the materials you used and the sizes of your pieces. Do you want to talk about like the media you selected? And obviously this is photography driven, but you're also a graphic artist. So what, you want to talk a little bit about the media that you selected for your submission?
Yes, so the pictures I chose were all taken this year, and I know it's a variety of like different things, but they all, I don't know, to me they all connect in a way. Like, for example, the childhood memory ones, that one, it just really brought back like nostalgic memories for me, like seeing handprints on the wall like I was a child again. And the studio portraits the studio portrait that I did, I don't know, I thought it was a great picture. And I like the way that she posed. It was all done on a school camera, but different lenses that were provided to me by my teacher.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it, and good luck to you. We'll decide in a week.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. I believe next up is Kai.
Hello.
Hi, Kai. This is Cultural and Fine Arts Commission. Have you been here before?
I have. I was here last year.
I thought you were. I thought I recognized you.
We're submitting a different media this year, though.
Yeah, you're a glutton for punishment. You like to do this. So, well, we're doing the same thing again, and we'll ask the same questions, and appreciate you being here.
When were you first aware that you were a creative?
I don't really think of myself as a creative more than anyone else. I believe creativity is an essential part of being human. And growing up in a Waldorf education environment, creativity was always a central part of my life. It's not something I felt like there was a specific moment where I discovered it or grew into it. It's just been a facet that's been with me throughout my life.
How do you want your music to impact others?
Most of all, I just hope my art sticks with people. I want people to find some meaning in it, be that joy or sadness or humor that they find in it. I just hope that it sticks with them, or they come back, they find themselves thinking about it or coming back to it after listening to it.
What would you say your artistic strengths are musically, and what about your weaknesses?
One of the biggest challenges I've had is knowing when to stop. Once I start a project, whether it's writing or music, I have a hard time letting it be finished and just putting it down and saying, okay, this is good enough. I sometimes overwork it, and sometimes to a point where it feels forced or loses something in the process. And that's something I'm working on, is being able to say it's okay and trusting the process. At the same time, that tendency comes from one of my strengths, which is dedication. I don't give up on things, and I'm willing to put in a lot of time and effort to complete something or work on it till I feel like it's something I'm happy with or really pleased to share with people.
What would you say separates your work from other students' work?
I feel like something that separates my work is how personal it is. My music comes directly from my own thoughts and experiences. And I try to keep it honest rather than shaping it to my audience or trying to think about who is going to be seeing it and what they might like. I try to make art that I like and I find interesting or beautiful. Yeah.
Good answer. So how do you hope your art transforms or evolves, and what steps are you going to take to get there?
I hope my music becomes more cohesive and intentional over time. And I want to better understand not only what sounds good, but why it sounds good, and the theory behind it. Like I'm very interested in going into music theory more in depth. This year for my senior project, I wrote an album, and I didn't have a lot. I felt a little rushed, so I didn't have a lot of time to really dive into music theory, and that's something I'm really interested in learning more about in the future.
Is there currently anything that you're working on?
Like I said, I'm working on an album that I wrote and recorded for my senior project, and I'm almost finished. I'm going to be releasing my songs on Spotify and burning some CDs to give to families and friends, so that's pretty exciting.
I know you mentioned music theory. Is there anything else you're hungry to learn or explore further?
Art in all its forms is very interesting to me. I love photography. I don't have a camera, but I love taking pictures on my phone, and I like drawing. But yeah, mostly music theory is something that I'm specifically very interested in learning. I want to learn. I also want to. I don't know if this. Well, I want to join a band in the future, probably. Learn how to collaborate with other musicians and share my work. I think that'd be really cool. Mm-hmm.
I want to ask a follow-up
Mm-hmm.
about what you're currently working on, because you mentioned your album,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked like you submitted an album to me or to us with Here on the Floor, and
Yeah.
was that an album or?
It was just 2 songs. I have 8 songs on my album, and those were 2 that fit into the time constraint.
I see.
that was
So you're
provided.
working on the other songs that go into that album?
They're all finished. I just couldn't submit them all to this because there was
Oh,
a
sure.
5-minute time
Okay.
constraint.
Okay, thank you. What does art mean to you? What does it mean to your life? What does music mean to your life?
Mm-hmm. To me, art is is a way of expressing things that are hard to put into words or explain to people. It's a way to process experiences and connect with others and share yourself. And I think it creates a space where people can feel understood or see something from a new perspective. I like to think of it as, I've heard the expression like windows and mirrors. Art either provides a window to a new perspective, or it provides a mirror into seeing something in yourself that you might not have noticed before. I really like that idea.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
No, I don't think so.
Thank you very much. This
All right.
was very interesting.
Thank you so much.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And Jacqueline, I don't believe is here yet. Is that correct?
Not yet. She is scheduled for 6:40, so
Okay.
we're doing just great.
We're doing really well. It's really interesting. I'm getting some amazing quotes. So I know. I can't wait to go back and get them right. Are you Jacqueline?
No, I'm here.
Hazel, okay. Do you want to jump ahead? You don't have to.
You can say no. You can say no.
You can say no. If you want to just sit and watch, it's fine. We're just waiting for the next candidate. So, okay. Get comfortable, put your feet up. Sarah, was he the only person that has done this twice?
I believe Alex, who's also Alexis on the, he's, what is it, 710? I believe he's also put in for last year.
Okay.
And actually, I think his art might be on the wall as well. I noticed it. some of his submissions were there. I thought, am I seeing things?
So that back wall?
Yes. Which also, if people are in the audience and have another year of high school left, are always welcome to apply in their senior years as well.
Absolutely. Having 19 this year is really fantastic. Did you do anything different to distribute information to people?
It was the same as last year, more or less. The time frame was a little different, which was a good experiment. It doesn't matter when we have the window. Most submissions come in the last week, regardless of where that last week is. So it was good to know for future. So I will say the one difference is, and it was challenging with spring breaks this year, with multiple districts now have different spring breaks. So I think that scheduling things did fall in the spring break for our students, which I realize is tricky. So this year's timing was just because of schedules and needs of the meetings. So always refining, but everybody was very responsive. Teachers were really responsive, and I mean, I think it's a great showing. I don't think it hurts that the award amount went up a bit. So it got maybe a little bit more interest that way, but also I noticed our local media did share and wrote articles and things, so that's always helpful. So.
Do you know, in the past, do you remember if we had ArtQuest students apply? It feels like we've not had much interest from ArtQuest.
I'm not sure if we've had submissions of students from ArtQuest. I just don't have a recollection of it. But I do know, I believe they're on our, a contact from ArtQuest is on our distribution list. It's always hard to tell sometimes with education emails, so if they get through or not is a little bit of a challenge.
Marin School for the Arts is on
That is
our
also
list,
on our list,
right,
yeah.
because we've had applicants from Marin School for the Arts, so, which is in Nevada, so, yeah, but not this year. So we have 3 schools. We have Justin Siena, we have Sonoma Valley High, and we have Credo and Sonoma Academy, 4 high schools. That's great. We've gotten at least some teachers interested.
Yes, things have changed since my day. There's so many choices now.
So many
Lots of options,
choices.
yeah.
Right. Okay, we're approaching the 6:40. So Robin's asking what the boundaries are and how students are eligible. And
As long as they live within the Sonoma Valley Unified School District boundaries. So I would have to double check that, but I believe it goes up towards the north part of Glen Ellen and then kind of between the mountain ranges and down to Carneros, almost by like Sears Point area. Do we still call it Sears Point? Sears Point. That's kind of, I believe that's the district boundary, and so that's what we've stayed. And that is common for a lot of city programs and a lot of city, even I think commissioners maybe. When we have our valley commissioners, that's kind of that tends to be the boundary that we put. I also might also correspond with our watershed, if anybody is interested, I believe. But we didn't advertise that part.
but students go to school all over. Justin Siena's Napa and Santa Rosa, Novato. They treat Credo as Roanoke Park, I believe, or Cotati. So
Yeah, they're right on the boundary of Cotati and Roanoke Park.
right. So the students we are getting are from all over.
And we're doing some outreach now to our next student. We know a lot of people were coming and going to various extracurriculars, so we're checking in on timing here. And we can modify shortly, or if we get a response, we'll let you know. Yes, that's fine. If the commissioners want to take a moment to stretch, you certainly can. Yes. And just while we're waiting, and for those watching the recording, we'll have I will resend the materials tomorrow to all the commissioners, including the recording, so you'll have an opportunity to compare your notes. And for those commissioners not watching, you'll have that in front of you.
Welcome. Are you Jacqueline?
Yes, I am.
Oh, welcome. Come on up.
I know that it definitely does not matter to you guys, and you guys hear this all the time, but I deeply apologize that I was late. I, for some reason, thought that I was supposed to be at the Sonoma Community Center. So I got there early, and I was sitting in my car rehearsing, and then I double checked. Okay.
Just breathe, relax.
Okay.
No problem. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Yeah, I've shown up.
I'm sorry for leaving you waiting.
No, not a problem. So, yeah, we're all artists. We all know what it's like, and I'm sorry you went through that. So just relax. We're going to talk about art. We're going to have a good time.
Okay.
Okay. So this is Cultural and Fine Arts Commission. It's very formal, we realize, but we have to do that because we're part of the city commissions. And we're actually taping this, and so, but not live streaming it.
Okay.
So that way our commissioners that couldn't be here tonight will be able to take part in the process and see the interviews. And so we're all art lovers, and just relax. It'll be fine. So we're going to ask the same questions that we ask of everybody, and you're welcome to stay after and watch people if you want to. A lot of people have done that. So our youth commissioner is and Emma will lead us off with the questions tonight.
Okay.
When were you first aware that you were a creative?
Okay, when I saw this question, I was intrigued by the phrase "a creative" because I feel like I've only ever heard that term creative used as an adjective to describe someone or even a personality trait of someone. But I like the use of a creative because I feel like that makes it seem more like a lifestyle or even like a worldview. And to answer the question, when I first thought realized, I guess, that I was a creative, I actually wrote my college essay on this. I am a senior, so that's all behind me, thank God. But I wrote my college essay actually on creativity and specifically creative problem solving. And so one of the main ways that I referenced in my essay and also just looking back had experienced was just a deep love since I was a kid for anything hands-on, like art, crafts, or specifically I really loved riddles or puzzles, just anything that I could use a creative lens on to then solve a problem. And it was something that I could be correct in. Like, for example, I know that some creatives, it's a stereotype that some might struggle with math, for example, because it feels like a one box thing. There's one way to do it. And so that's where I've really found a love for art, or like I mentioned, creative problem solving, because it's not a one box. It's a it's a circle peg that can fit into a triangle hole. It can be anything. You can come up with your own answers. And I would say, like I said at the beginning, a creative, I would say that is what I would use to describe myself, because that is the way that I look at life.
Great. How do you want your art to impact others?
Okay, this was another one of my, I'd probably going to say that for a few of these questions, but that was another one of my favorite questions from the list, because ever since I was a kid a lot, but ever since I was a kid, I have loved creating art, but I've never created any art that had a meaning up until last year in my AP 2D art class for my high school, Justin Siena. And it originally was a little scary because I believe the next question coming up, I believe it was something along the lines of, what is your artistic strengths or weaknesses? I've only ever taken like a basic art class or a graphic design class. And so stepping into AP Art, it made me kind of have some sort of imposter syndrome of, can I do this? Will I have these skills to be good enough to fit in with all these other AP artists? And the way that I combated that with, I believe I see she has pictures of my art pieces. I don't know if everyone else does, but the way that I combated that was through, like I said at the beginning, creative ideas. And I originally, again, was worried before going into this class that I would struggle with coming up with a meaning after I created a piece, as well as everyone focuses on I need a deep meaning or an extremely heart-touching inquiry question to base all of my pieces on. But I actually realized that I would just come up with an idea and then base that piece off of it. And it was just kind of an instant thing. And with with that connection, that's what I based my pieces off of. I'm sorry, I'm running a little bit long on this question, but I actually wanted to bring it back to the actual question of how do you want your art to impact others? I mentioned in my college essay as well, one of my favorite ways to creative problem solve is through sustainability. I've always loved the environment. My dad used to sell solar panels, and one of my favorite ways of creative thinking is to come up with sustainable solutions for everyday objects or for already existing situations. And again, that's what I listed in my college essay, but that's what I focused my question on for my AP Art. And like I said, that was the first time that I had to come up with pieces that had meaning, and that's a big way that I wanted my pieces to focus on. Again, I don't think everyone's seen the art that I did, but my question was, how does consumerism affect us? And that is where a lot of my passions for sustainable solutions came into play. Yeah.
I'm not sure I need to ask this because you already know the questions, but what are your artistic strengths and weaknesses?
I think that through my AP Art class, I was able to trust myself more with my abilities. And like I said, I'm not so much of a technically skilled artist, I would call myself. I've taken a class at the Napa JC to learn how to better my skills, just a basic shading form class before my AP Art class, actually, to try to feel that I would gain those skills more. But I am not, as you can see in my pieces, I do not do a lot of realism. Instead, I just focus on my strengths, which are my ideas, and my I just love color and form in all of my pieces. So I think I focused on a lot of pop art, specifically my favorite, which I would have mentioned in the question before me had I remembered and had I not rambled. One of my favorites is the piece "You Are What You Eat," because I really liked and valued the message. Same thing as my piece for the Sonoma Trash and Fashion Show, but instead of going for more of a beautiful gown, if you've seen any of these amazing things that people have created, or even a realistic drawing of that person for my "You Are What You Eat," instead I just focused on coming up with this strong idea and matching that with a strong, eye-catching and easily remembered form.
What would you say separates your work from other students' work?
Okay. Can I ask a follow-up question? When you say other students' work, do you mean based off themes of ideas, or are you asking what would be unique about my art compared to others?
Could be either.
Okay. Well, one of my favorite pieces, I'm going to talk about both of those again, but it would probably be my use of materials as well as just my use of color. I'm sorry, is there any chance I might be able to double check the pieces that I did submit? Okay. Okay, sorry. One of my favorite things about my art, like I said, is that I've been able to trust myself with coming up with an idea first and then really honing that in and expanding upon that. Specifically, my favorite parts of my pieces that I think, not to say makes me different from other artists, but might be, like I said earlier, more eye-catching, is a lot of the form work and space work that I used. This piece, I'm going to say that for everyone, which is why I submitted them all, but this piece, Breaking the Chain, is one of my favorites, because I just almost would get this image in my head and just this small like glimpse of something, and then I would create it into this image that, in my opinion, is easy to remember. Like just the breaking of the phone. I don't know if you can read it, it's pretty small, but I have the limited space meaning for the process, and a lot of that, as well as the you are what you eat piece, sorry, I just feel like I'm rambling. I feel really encapsulates what I can do. And just, sorry, I'm rambling over what I've already said, thank you. But I feel that it really showcases a strong form.
You're nailing it. It's all good.
Okay, thank you.
So how do you hope your art transforms, and what steps will you take to get there?
Ooh, okay. Can I talk more about my AP art class, actually? No?
Yeah,
Okay,
you're-
okay.
You're, like, just fill us in, you know, well, how do you see your art evolving? How do you see, how
Okay.
are you working on your craft? Where do you see it now versus a couple of years from now? What are you working on? Like, how do you see it evolving?
Okay. Well, I have to mention probably creative future endeavors. I'm really hoping to major in graphic design and hopefully double major in either graphic design and advertising or marketing, and hopefully take some, like I keep mentioning, sustainability classes in college. So I'm really hoping to, in the future, use, like I keep saying, these creative problem-solving skills to better oh my gosh, it sounds so cringe to say better the world or anything like that, but a big focus of mine is on sustainable packaging, and specifically just any sustainable product design. I'm hoping to use that design to branch off into that. But for my actual art class, I'm challenging myself this year. I'm taking, instead of AP 2D art, I'm taking AP drawing, which is already definitely a challenge because, like I've stated, and I keep restating, I am not a very technically skilled artist, meaning I don't do a lot of realism. And so for my senior year, I decided to challenge myself in taking AP drawing. And so a lot of my pieces, which I was inspired by my original inquiry question, how does consumerism affect us? My new question for this year's AP exam is, after consumerism, what do we leave behind? And so I focused on a lot of darker themes, as well as in all these pieces that are there are all pieces that I submitted for my AP exam. And I believe that I showed a lot of synthesis and in my color and, like I keep saying, line and form. And I believe that's what got me the 5. And in this, my senior year, my second edition, I am focusing on challenging myself more to do more dark, whether that's color scheme or themes, as well as just higher skill level, more realism, more people, more shading, everything like that. And focusing on the darker aspect of what we leave behind.
Just because you don't do realism doesn't mean you don't have technical ability. Come on, you're selling
Okay.
yourself short there.
As of right now, is there anything that you're currently working on?
Can I describe a piece? Okay. One of my favorite ideas or pieces that I came up with actually last year, but because of the nature of my other pieces in that exam last year, the bright colors and everything, I knew that it wouldn't fit, which is a big part of the AP art grading, if any of you guys are familiar. And so I carried it on to this year, which is honestly what inspired my whole after consumerism, what do we leave behind? And in this piece that I'm currently working on, it is it is an acrylic art attempting to be realistic painting. focusing on the what we leave behind. And let me paint this picture for you because I don't have any examples. But a lot of my pieces this year are, like I said, darker color schemes. So picture basically a dark green funeral home. And as you can see, the scene is a casket. Seemingly after a funeral or during a funeral, you can see a little standee of what would be a person's face and then maybe a wreath of flowers. Except at the funeral, no one is there, and instead the casket is unable to close because of too much stuff pouring out. A lot of times people will ask to be buried with their stuff, and I thought that that was a really interesting concept to show physically that someone prioritized the stuff in their life more than the people in their life, which is why, in addition to that realism, I love adding my cartoony elements as my whole first portfolio. So I am working on adding a little bit of a like cartoony dotted outline of seemingly people surrounding the casket, but showing that nothing actually is there. Seemingly like if you ever watched like Looney Tunes or something and someone runs away and then there's just a little outline of a person that was there. It's this idea that there could have been people here, but they were not prioritized. And this is the legacy that that person is leaving behind.
Great. I think you've touched on the next one a lot, so feel free to just say you've covered it. What are you hungry to learn or explore further other than darker subject matter, darker colors, more realism? Is there anything else?
I think a big thing that I want to focus on is actually, like I said, the darker color scheme, like what you just said, but trying to elicit more of a feeling. One of the questions earlier, I believe the second one, and then I think it was written as a follow-up question, was, I think it was something like, recount a time where someone had a reaction to your work. My grandmother, she used to be an artist, and she makes a lot of pieces, but it's always, what she tells me, doesn't have meaning, where it's a landscape or flowers or even our house. And I remember I was so excited to show her the You Are Where You Eat piece, a very jarring piece in my opinion. And I remember she absolutely hated it. And she thought that it was disgusting and that it was very, like, horrible to look at, specifically all the, like, bubbles and the gouging eyes and big teeth and everything. She thought it was disgusting. And after the original, I guess, a little bit of an ego hit, because, I mean, she's my grandma, she's an artist, and I wanted to impress her, I realized that actually this was kind of cool, that I could make an art piece that could make someone feel these things. And originally I might have thought that, oh, she thinks that my art is bad, when actually talking about it and actually asking her questions about what she thought, it meant more that she was able to have this, like, illicit reaction of, this is gross, I don't want to look at it. And I feel like that honestly helps emphasize the point of that piece, that it's almost a call out. And that's something that I want to focus on more with my darker pieces, is having people, even if they don't understand the full meaning, have a reaction.
Thank you. What does art mean to you in your life?
Okay. Well, like I said, my grandmother is an artist, and my mother, she worked on productions for TV shows, so she was in charge of creating a lot of like background sets or sourcing props or everything like that. And I myself have done technical theater for my high school, a lot of painting and a lot of prop making. But to me, like I said at the beginning, I like the phrase a creative because I feel like that is more of an outlook on life. And I think that art for some people can be that way. I mean, a lot of people will get inspired by anything. I have a dress fully made out of receipts, that kind of thing. But I just think that art, it sounds, again, so cliche, but I think that art can just be the beauty of the eye of the beholder, where it's just, if you can allow yourself to feel those feelings, like my grandmother looking at that art piece, then anything can be art. And what was the second part of that question? Sorry? Okay, just anything can be art. Yeah, I'm just very excited to hopefully get to study that in college, both the feeling and the creation of design.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
No, I don't think so. I think the only thing that I would want to explain is that of the pieces, I believe one is, sorry, can I grab this again? You guys obviously know the AP art exam, but of a lot of these pieces, such as this, and this, and this. Oh, okay, sorry. I thought I included something, but I did not. But I I just wanted to add on, mainly just, I guess, then how much fun I'm having in these classes. I thought I included one of my selected works, and so I wanted to explain that. How much time do I have left?
We're running a little long.
Okay.
So probably ought to wrap it up, whatever
Okay.
whatever you'd just like to say at the end.
No, I can't say I do, other than I guess I suggest any of you guys that are interested in any other young artists come to the Justin Sienna Art Show in the spring.
Thank
That's
you.
all.
Do you know the date?
I do not yet.
let Sarah know and we'll spread the word. So thank you. This was very enlightening and
Thank you.
You're good luck to you. You're going to go far. I can tell. So
Thank you.
And we'll decide in a week.
Okay.
So and this will be viewable online.
Mm-hmm.
So and tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be by tomorrow. It'll be on the city's website.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for allowing me to still come in late. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And stick around if you want. We've got lots of people that love art here. I can tell. Your tribe is here. So, Hazel, do you want to come up? Thank you for waiting.
Hi.
Hi. So you've heard most of what I need to say about the recording and all that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
we'll get right into it if that's okay. We understand this is a little formal and a little odd, but we're talking about art, so we'll have fun. Emma is our youth commissioner, and she'll start us off.
When were you first aware that you were a creative?
I feel like it was never really a realization, I guess. I grew up surrounded by a lot of artists. My mother, she's amazing, both of my sisters. And when I saw them creating art and I saw the way that it impacted them, the way that they responded to it, I was like, oh, I want to get in on this. And so I started creating art, and I feel like it was sort of a power I tapped into. And I kind of just continued that, and I never really realized, I sort of just became.
How do you want your art to impact others?
Well, in general, I guess I want to be able to make people feel. Like, I want to have them look at my art, and I want it to be more than just a painting or more than just, graphite. Like, I want them to be able to read it, I guess, like a book. But more specifically, for the kind of art that I create for the people that I love, I hope that I'm able to make my love tangible. Like, I want them to see it and be able to know that I love them, even when I'm not there. I want them to know, I want my art to speak for me.
What would you say your strengths are artistically, and what are your weaknesses?
Well, I feel like my biggest weakness is how harsh I am on myself sometimes. I find myself overanalyzing my work and searching for mistakes that are minimal and nobody else would notice. But that's sort of a strength in a way too, because it makes me spend a lot more time on my work, and I feel like it helps me improve.
Well, What would you say separates your work from other students' work?
This is kind of a tricky question because I'm still kind of figuring that out myself in my journey. But I would say the one thing that I could think of is that I want my pieces to settle with people like separately. I don't want their meaning to be fixed. I want each person to be able to interpret it differently, the way that they want to. That's the only thing I know that's unique about me at the moment.
How do you hope that your art transforms or evolves, and what steps will you take to get there?
I really want to continue doing art for the rest of my life. I'm hoping that, well, currently next year I'm taking an AP art class, so I'm really hoping that that'll improve my abilities further. But then furthermore, in college, I plan to take more classes, and even as I become older, I plan to continue my love for art and creating it in hopes of entering more galleries and such.
Is there currently anything that you're working on?
I've started practicing with new mediums. When I was younger, like when I was around 12, I got into acrylic and oil painting, but I sort of phased out of it, and recently I rediscovered my love for it, so I've begun practicing with my new medium.
What are you hungry to learn or explore further?
Well, being a self-taught artist, I never really learned the actual rules of art, I guess, like the fundamental pieces. So I'm trying to go back to relearn them so that I'll be able to improve my art in the future.
So what has art meant to you in your life?
Art has been an extension of myself. It's been a way that I was able to cope with my emotions at a lot of difficult stages of my life, and a way for me to express my emotions physically. It's been really important, and it's allowed me to have a lot of connections in life. It's allowed me to meet a ton of people, a lot of amazing people, and it's a really big part of my life.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
I just wanted to say thank you guys for the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Next we have Maria. Is Maria here? Hi, Maria.
Hello. Hi.
This is Cultural and Fine Arts Commission for the City of Sonoma, and we have a couple members who are not here, so we are recording this session so that they might see. We also will be playing it back starting tomorrow so that the public is able to see this. So just want you to know that it's publicly available.
That's fine.
And we're asking the same questions to try to be fair to everybody. Make sure that we do the proper process. We've seen all the work, and we're now going to take a week to kind of deliberate. Our youth commissioner is Emma, and Emma will start us off with a question.
When were you first aware that you were creative?
Well, I grew up around art, so it was basically also always a part of my life. And growing up, I wasn't really around any artists, but I kind of taught myself how to draw, and I kind of was naturally good at it. So it's pretty much what it is.
How do you want your art to impact others?
I want my art to make people feel something, especially emotionally and spiritually. Since I'm inspired by Catholic themes, I hope my work can bring a sense of reflections, peace, or even curiosity about faith.
What do you think your artistic strengths are and your artistic weaknesses?
Well, my strength is definitely my ability to express myself and my emotions, and I also really like to use bright colors to make my art pieces appealing to the eye. And I'm working on pushing myself outside of my comfort zone and trying new things. My weaknesses, my weaknesses would be that since this is like my first year taking art, I'm not like really. I'm trying to learn more, and then also I'm pushing myself to take an AP art class next year.
What would you say separates your work from other students' work?
Well, what separates my work is that I am heavily inspired by my heritage. So that makes me want to inspire other people that are also like Hispanic and are struggling with like everything that's going on right now in the world. So that's what I'm trying to get to do.
Yes. So how do you hope your art transforms and evolves, and what steps will you take to get there?
I want to learn how to draw more realistic, and also learn how what inspired other like artists that have like the same pursuit as me. So like Frida Kahlo, by example, like Diego Rivera.
Is there currently anything that you're working on?
I am trying to prepare myself mentally for taking an AP art class, because I don't know how big of a responsibility it could be, since I'm also barely starting to take art classes.
What are you hungry to learn or explore further?
I want to learn more advanced techniques and explore different ways to represent religious themes in a modern and creative way. I'm also interested in improving how I use color and detail to make my artwork more powerful.
What has art meant to you in your life?
For me, art means like a beautiful way to express yourself. You can use bright colors, you can use different mediums. It's a way to speak something that you can say like verbally, something that you can like put out there, basically.
Is there anything else you would like to let us know today?
Well, since this is my first year, what I would say is that I would try to push myself more, and I'm hoping to be a greater artist and create more paintings, create more powerful paintings, and use more color, learn more basically. That's what I'm trying to do for like my goals too.
You should connect with Jacqueline about the AP art classes.
Do you want to talk about the materials you used in your pieces and the sizes of the ones that you submitted?
In most of the pieces that I submitted, I used graphite because I feel like it is really an easy way to draw. I can add depth, like darker values and highlights, and it's really easy. You can blend stuff really easy, and that's what I really like. I also try to do color pencil, which sometimes doesn't come out as smooth as I like try to make it, but it still works.
Could you talk about this piece and what it's made of, and what it's how you did it? Because it doesn't look like graphite.
Oh, that one, specifically that piece, that was made with acrylics. I was inspired by one of the drawings I made before, which is this one. And basically, at that time, I was trying to make more like randomized kind of art, and since I also was trying to add more color to it, and pretty much making it look like abstract.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. And good luck to you. And we'll decide in a week.
Thank you.
So we hope this was fun.
Thank you.
Kind of. And I think next up is Tilly. Tilly, come on up. And we know this looks a little intimidating, but don't let it. We're going to talk about art. So, and this will be recorded because of our missing commissioners, and also because public needs to see it. So, but we're all artists here and appreciate emerging artists. And Emma, our youth commissioner, will start us.
When were you first aware that you were a creative?
I think when I got this question, it made me think back, and it made me remember this story. When I was in second grade, I think the first time I ever realized I was creative was I was really into those little rainbow loom kits with like the rubber bands, and you make bracelets of them. And I made a bunch of them for all of my family members for Christmas. And making those, I decided, oh, I'll make Christmas cards too. So I made Christmas cards for everyone, and I gave them to all my aunts and uncles. And I got a lot of positive feedback back, and they were all like, this is really impressive. I really like what you did. You made each one individual. Everyone had colors that match with them. Like, this is a great job. And so obviously taking that, I was like, well, next year I have to do better. So the next year I did more bracelets. I did them for every member of my family. I did them specific to like each family member, and I did the cards more detailed. I did full cards, so I did on the front was like a Merry Christmas, and then inside I started doing like little comics, and then on the other side I do with their name, I do something special for them. And then each year, every Christmas, I'd make the project like grander. I'd do it like, how can I one up myself from the last year? So then I started learning how to do like different kind of patterns with the rainbow loom, how to make them more unique. I started getting better with my technique and art, obviously, making them more detailed. I'd start drawing the adult in with the comics of who I was trying to put. I would think of like what they would like to see. Eventually I moved on from rainbow loom to starting doing wire bracelets, because I really got into those. My dad's an electrician, so we always have like, we have this bin of like electrical wire in my side yard, so I just like got a bunch of that, and I put like beads on, and I just like kept increasing the difficulty and kind of learning from what I was creating and the feedback I was getting. And I think that was just the initial project that let me test my creativity.
How do you want your art to impact others?
I mostly want my art to bring joy to people. I want them to be interested in what I see and want them to feel inspired to create something that also makes them happy. This reminds me of a story. My mom is a kindergarten teacher at Sasserini, so most of the art I make that she likes, she puts up in her classroom. So everything in her classroom is very vibrant, obviously for 5-year-olds. So I have this one piece of like a monarch butterfly that's on her wall. I painted it acrylic. And I went into her class one day. I'd got out from school early, and one of the little girls, she had seen that I had made the art, and she asked if I could outline another piece for her so she could color it in. So I did that, she colored it in, and that just really brought me joy, seeing how she could be inspired by my art and how I could like give her the opportunity to be creative herself.
What do you think your artistic strengths and your weaknesses are?
I'd say my main weakness is definitely I get frustrated with myself in the process. I'm currently taking a 3D ceramics class, and you could ask the people at my table, like I'll be working on a piece and I'll just be like, this isn't working, like this is terrible. And then 20 minutes later I'll be like, okay, it's coming together. And then 20 minutes later I'll be like, no, this is terrible again. I'm definitely hot and cold when it comes to my own art. I definitely judge myself really hard. And I think one of my strengths though comes through like how I deal with that. I always try to persevere. I think this is evident in one of the pieces I submitted. It was a big acrylic painting of an octopus. Well, they're all octopus, but the big colorful one, I think that shows my perseverance through art, just the amount of layers. I really enjoy acrylic art because I can put something down, but nothing is like concrete, nothing is solid, because I could just go right over it. So there are many layers in that piece of just me not being happy with something and just doing it again until I feel like it's something I'm proud to share.
What would you say separates your work from other students' work?
I'd say for sure one thing that makes me unique in my art is my use of different mediums. I definitely tried to use things that were very different in portraying the same subject matter. I also think that my flexibility in using different mediums correlates to like my life in like school. I'm a part of a lot of clubs And I use art. I try to use that in my normal life of making posters and flyers and things like that. I like to use my design and creativity with a bunch of my art to try as many things as possible and use my art in all different sorts of aspects of my life. So I think my art is unique in the way that I bring in a bunch of different techniques and textures, and I create something that can be used in many different aspects.
So how do you hope that your art transforms, and what steps will you take to get there?
Right now, the biggest thing I'm working on transforming in my art is the scale. I'm really enjoying making 3D pieces, but so far I've been kind of stuck in the corners of making like a ceramic piece that's kind of smaller in scale. I think this is my first year doing ceramics. I'm in a really fun class. I love it, but that is definitely something that takes a lot of trial and error. So what I'm working on is just continuing practicing making like larger pots, trying over and over again. I like making like the wire sculpture. That took a lot of time, and I think if I were to make something bigger, just the more I work at it, the better it can be and the quicker I could be at it.
As of right now, is there currently anything that you're working on?
Yeah, so right now I'm working on a bunch of different pieces that all kind of fit in the same category. I'm working on trash collages. It kind of started as a joke with my friends. I was like in class, bored one day, and I thought I'll go through my backpack and I'll just glue down all the pieces of trash I found in my notebook. And I kind of put it together, and I kind of showing people, and I was like, well, this kind of looks like art. And I showed it to my art teacher, and he was like, well, this is art. This is a form of art. Trash collages are like a big part of art, of reusing pieces and like wrappers and papers and stuff like that to create just a piece that comes together. It's things that people would normally throw away and see as trash can be used to make something beautiful. So I think I've made 5 so far of the pieces. The first one started with just random things in my backpack, so that one's kind of crazy looking. But then the next one, I did specifically all the trash I collected in one day. So I had gone to a museum, I had a brochure, I had a sticker, I had like a wrapper from like a granola bar I ate, and it kind of all encapsulated in this one piece. And I like ripped up the pieces, and it created like one image of like all the trash I generated in one day. And then I also have another piece that's kind of with textures. It's like foils and like gold kind of like wrappers of like gum and stuff. And so that one's all kind of shiny. And then I have another one that I'm working on that has taken me a long time. And it's like I'm collecting a whole bunch of colors from the wrappers and I'm creating like an ombre effect of the pieces. So I get a little like red piece and it goes over here, and then a little blue piece over here. And I'm kind of trying to create just this big piece. But that's what I'm currently working on.
Very cool. Definitely inspired by your trash collage. I'm going to steal that. What else are you hungry to learn or explore further?
Further in my career after high school, so I'm a senior right now, and I've just been accepted into UC Berkeley for architecture. So I'm hoping to further my artistic journey in design, because I'm really interested into sustainable environmental design and how I can create infrastructure that not only benefits people but also like the planet. So I'm really interested in like green infrastructure and how I can implement that into the architecture courses I am taking in the future.
I'm a retired art teacher, and I think that we need to start a coffee shop with all of you guys. And you all need to get to know each other from all these different schools, because there's many themes going through here that are very exciting and very interesting. And I think we're just constantly inspired by a night like this to talk about art with young people. So thank you very much. What does art mean to you in your life?
Personally, art to me is a form of expression. I think it's something that I can always grow at. It's a part of my identity that no matter how much time I take off from art, I can always come back to it and continue to grow. Right now, I'm in my first art class since freshman year, and during that time, I prioritized taking highly rigorous academic courses. But coming into this class, I decided, I was like, all right, I'm a senior, I'll take an easy art class, we'll see how it goes. And immediately I was shocked by how much fun I was having. I think art is just something that will always be super important to me because it's a way that I can express my creativity, and it's also something that I can always build at. There's never going to be like an ending point of art. I'm never going to get as good as I possibly can because there's always something more to learn. There's always something more to try, and there's always something new to make.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us today?
Yeah, I would just like to share why I chose the subject matter of my pieces. I chose the octopus throughout all my pieces, showing different parts of it through different lenses of different textures and mediums because I wanted to represent an animal that represented not only wisdom but flexibility. I wanted to showcase the different mediums that I was working on, but also I wanted to show like something cohesive that went through them because a lot of my work doesn't really go well together, so I was like, let me do something that would fit well together but also choose an animal that would be able to be well represented in each of these different mediums.
I think that answered the last question. Yeah, thank you very much for coming and participating, and good luck to you.
Thank
And we'll
you.
know in a week.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. And thanks to those of you that have been waiting. It's inspiring, but I'm sure you've got much more to do in your lives. So, Alexis, I believe you are back with us this year. We've seen you before, and it's fun to see your work evolve and change. So, welcome. You
Hello.
kind of know how this runs after the
Yeah.
second year.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, Emma's going to start us off with questions.
All right, sounds good.
When were you first aware that you were a creative?
I first realized when I was creative was when I was little, and I realized that I can do things that not a lot of other people can do, like artistically. And also when, like, one of my cousins showed me like how to draw, and I don't know, I just found it kind of fun because he's like studying to be an architect now, and I found a lot of inspiration from him because I used to want to be an architect, but not anymore. But it was just fun to be in that process.
How do you want your art to impact others?
I want people to see my art and feel like any type of emotion, like just like leaving a lasting impact, like thinking it's cool, or it like actually having like an emotional impact on them. And I also wanted to leave an impact because I want to be a tattoo artist, and that's also like really important, like having some sort of memory or some sort of emotion attached to the tattoo. And yeah, that's basically.
I just have to say, after coming back from New Zealand and seeing the Maoris' tattoos, that it's impressive how much tattooing is all over that island, and so it's worth studying. What do you think your strengths and weaknesses are?
One of my biggest strengths is shading, especially black and gray. I focus a lot on my realism, and I need a lot of shading for that. And that like it has helped me just make my work better overall. And then one of my weaknesses is like focusing too much on the small details and using a lot of color, because I don't really use a lot of color. It's mostly just like heavy blacks and like grays.
What would you say separates your work from other students' work?
I would say like approaching it with like a tattoo mindset, using like a lot of blacks and like grays and whites, because you really need to have that contrast for it to hold like over time. And yeah, that's basically.
It's like the same wanted to ask me all day. Whatever. So how do you hope that your art transforms or evolves, and what steps are you going to take to get there?
I just wanted to get better overall, like over the years, and I also want my tattoos to get better over the years. And for that to happen, I just need to keep on going at it every day, just little by little. Just trying to do whatever I can in each day. And yeah, that's basically it.
Is there currently anything that you're working on?
I'm currently working on like a really big rose. I'm working on it with my mentor, my tattoo mentor, and I'm gonna do the rose, and he's gonna do like some lettering around it.
How big is that?
It's like probably like as big as me, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Have you tattooed someone before?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What else are you hungry to learn or explore further?
I'm hungry to explore oil painting, because I've done a few paintings, but I just want to keep on getting at it, because I just feel like I need to do it more, since it's like really helpful in tattooing too.
Who is your mentor?
His name's Alex Martinez. He's from Santa Rosa.
What does art mean to you in your life?
Art means a lot to me. It's like, it's brought me a lot of blessings in my life. It's like, it's brought me a lot of opportunities, a lot of money, and just like a lot of, like, being able to be present with myself and just like content with my emotions.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
No, not really. I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, and we wish you a lot of luck.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. I think next we've got Madeline, our last applicant. Welcome, Madeline.
Hello. Can I move this?
I think you kind of see how this runs, and you've heard me talk plenty, so I'll
Yeah.
turn it over to Emma.
When were you first aware that you were creative?
I don't think there was a specific moment. I never really considered myself a creative person growing up, but after doing a lot of introspection in the past couple years, I just realized that after growing up playing classical violin, I always found myself like lost for hours practicing a piece or pushing myself to try a new type of art, whether it was like painting or drawing, photography, auditioning for theater productions. I think I realized that I always found myself striving to do more creatively, and that's when I realized I was a creative.
How do you want your art, and more specifically your music, to impact others?
I really want my music to build community. I think that music is really special because it's found in like every culture in the world, just like art. But it's so different depending on who plays it. I think that in the past, my music has really helped build community. I used to play music with my little brother and sometimes for our friends, and we would build this little community of people who loved music, and that was really special to me. And I think that no matter where I find myself in the world, music is something that will help me create a circle of friends or like just people to interact with and learn from.
What would you say your strengths and weaknesses artistically are?
I think that one of my artistic strengths is my flexibility and curiosity of trying new disciplines. As I mentioned, I've explored lots of types of visual art. I've played violin, guitar, clarinet, lots of different musical instruments. And I think if someone suggests like a new medium of art, I'm so happy to like delve into what it means to create that type of art and learn new techniques. I think that my biggest weakness is probably hesitance to perform in front of other people. I think that it's been kind of a struggle since I was a kid, just like stage fright and worrying about others' interpretations of what I do artistically. But I constantly push myself to go against this weakness, whether it's performing for friends and family,
or submitting my pieces to something like this, I am constantly working to be a better performer.
What would you say separates your work, specifically your music, from other students' work?
I think something that's very special about my music and the violin in general is that even a slight change in your posture or the way that you're holding the bow or your vibrato or the way that you play the rhythm, it completely changes the song and the emotions that come with it. And of course, all art is up for interpretation by the listener or viewer. But the violin is really special because even your own emotions can impact how your music is perceived.
So, I mean, you've been playing since you were 2 years old, which is awesome. I love that. How do you hope your art transforms and evolves, and what steps will you take to get there?
Well, I really want to improve my precision and my technique and my tone. I think that just comes with more study and more practice. And then, of course, challenging myself with the more difficult classical pieces that I've always wanted to play since I was a kid. And those are all things that I work on every day to improve.
Off those Vivaldi books and just
Yes.
get after it. That's awesome.
Is there currently anything you're working on?
Yes. So I'm currently working on actually being in a theater production. And I'm also working on, of course, developing my violin technique and exploring more contemporary pieces like the stuff that I listen to. I think I've been having a lot of fun trying to learn that on the violin as well as balance that with the other creative parts of my life.
You've kind of touched on this one. Is there anything else you're hungry to learn or further explore?
Well, not only do I want to pursue more like contemporary music, but I also really want to play in a group like an orchestra or like a quartet or something like that. I did that a little bit as a kid, but I want to pursue that more seriously now. And beyond that, I want to explore more what it means to be a performer, kind of like the art of performance, and kind of learning from the people that I look up to that are also performers, and just improving myself in that way.
Since you're a multimedia artist, what does music and art and theater mean to you in your life?
Well, for me, all of it is a language. It's the way that I communicate with the people around me, but also to the world. I think that art, music, art, photography, any of it, it's a really good record of history, which is something I'm also really passionate about. It's been used as a form of resistance or protest, and that's something I find really interesting. I think it also is like our best way of capturing what it means to be a human, and I think that studying it and creating it and understanding it just really helps me become a better person with each new piece that I encounter.
May I quote you on that?
Sure.
Is there anything else you would like to share with us today?
Yeah. I think that beyond just creating music and playing music and creating art, creativity is in every aspect of my life. I've been super into like public speaking, and using creativity in speeches or comments that I have to make is something that I really find joy in. And beyond that, just like creative writing, poetry, journalism, those are all things that I'm continuing to learn to use my creativity to become better at. And I think it's very enjoyable and very fun.
Thank you very much for coming and sharing all your feelings, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
And we'll decide in a week, and the broadcast will be on television, I think, soon.
All right, thank you.
Very inspiring to all of you. Thank you all for coming. Parents, thank you for supporting kids that are creative. Appreciate it. I think with that, Do we have anything else?
Just some real quick next steps. But first of all, wow, I'm blown away and inspired. So just want to thank all of the student artists. What an incredible group of individuals. I think the creative future of Sonoma Valley is in good hands. So just an incredible showing this evening. Do also want to thank my fellow colleagues here. You mentioned the packets in front of you, a lot of coordination going into making sure that those information and communication with the employees, so with the students as far as getting the schedule lined up. So big thank you to Monique and Sarah who did the heavy lifting to make sure that was all in place for you. And to you all as commissioners, I know there's a lot of time, and I don't envy your position right now as you move into the selection phase. So speaking of which, how that will work, you have the materials in front of you. We will resend that to the entire commission. That will include the recording. We do ask that as hard as it may be to try to not deliberate with one another over the next week so that we stay in compliance with the Brown Act. You are welcome to touch base with other community members. We do encourage you to revisit the materials when you're making your determination. Please know it's a compilation of all of the materials. So the application, the artist statement, of course, the artworks and performances themselves, as well as the interviews you heard here tonight. So we hope that you put all of those pieces together in making your selection, and also know that you are not bound to selecting just one single artist. So the prize money in the selection can be split. We don't set a number on that. We know that will make for a tough deliberation, but you do have the ability to spread this across multiple artists if you so choose. So with that in mind, we'll send you all the materials, and then we'll meet back here in a week's time, and we'll have our regular scheduled meeting and make our deliberations. So before I turn the mic over, just want to make sure, any closing comments from Sarah or Monique? Just want to thank you, and again, big thank you to all of the student applicants. Truly an inspiring evening.
And I think for our commission, we are so grateful to be in a community that cares about student artists and cares about the arts. This is a very, very rare type of award. Most cities don't take it that seriously, and having creativity and creatives in our midst and really celebrating what you're about to become is super important. So I'm grateful for this city at this point. Thank you. I think we're adjourned.